Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Conversations from the Operating Room, presented by OR Manager and Lean Taz. I'm Torcilla Mora. I'm the Senior Editor of OR Manager Magazine, and I'm joined by Debbie Hickman, Director of Adult Surgical Services at Baptist Medical Center in Jacksonville. How are you, Debbie?
Hi, good morning. Good.
Good morning.
Doing
Awesome.
well.
All right, so Debbie, before we dive in, can you tell us a little bit about your role in your hospital's operating rooms? How many ORs, how many robots, etc.?
Sure, be happy to. I'm Debbie Hickman. I'm Director of Adult Surgical Services on the downtown campus, which is the flagship hospital for Baptist Health in all of Jacksonville. We have 5 hospitals. On the downtown campus, we actually have different parts of surgical services throughout different towers and service lines. In the main operating room, we have 17 ORs, 2 of which are cystos. In our CVOR, we have 4 ORs, one of which is a hybrid interventional room. In our neuro operating rooms, we have 5 operating rooms and 2 interventional radiology rooms. And we have robots in all of our different campuses, to be honest. We also have a freestanding ambulatory center that has 2 operating rooms for multi-specialty. And we have another freestanding ambulatory surgery center that has 5 operating rooms for ambulatory orthopedic surgery only. When we want to talk, what we're going to talk about today is our main operating room campus, which has and our intuitive robots. We all have different kinds of robots, and this philosophy will work for all of them, frankly. But where we had the greatest need and the greatest desire for allocation of a very expensive resource to be highly utilized and not underutilized while still meeting the physician's expectations. And so we have 4 robots. We had 3. We share a 4th one that we bring in. So the main OR has 3 XI robots and 1 SI robot. We retain our SI robot for our single port procedures such as oral and transanal. We expect to be upgrading to the XP shortly for that same process.
All right, cool. And what are some of the challenges you have been facing with your robot utilization?
It was always, when I first arrived, I've been here a little over 5 years. When I first arrived, they had just received a fleet of new robots and everybody was happy. Everybody had a robot, everybody had access to it. And it was just kind of, post at will. We grew very rapidly by introducing our MD Anderson partners in our campus. We have a brand new Baptist MD Anderson hospital that's been in existence for 4 years. And that brought with us a lot of high-tech, complicated, additional demands for our robots. What we found then through our robotic steering committee, our traditional steering committee, that was helped organized and led with our intuitive data, the data that came from the robot itself, we were trying to make conscious allocation decisions like you would for a rigid block, which we currently had. At the middle of that, we had moved forward with entertaining a modified block schedule, which means you would have high utilizing physicians have block, lower utilizing physicians be free and able to book into open time. It went hand in hand with our Lean Toss initiative. And so I was kind of down that the main campus went last, but it was the perfect timing because we were able to take our modified block schedule, marry that with our Lean Toss IQ data and processes to really tell not just data, but tell the story in the data. And that's what I say about Lean Toss all the time. It tells the story, and that's what leaders need. We need data. We've had data, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. But what we needed was a story to be told with that data. And that's what Lean Toss IQ did. They took best practices. They looked at what we had, and we felt like we were utilizing our robots 100%. We were going to have to make another $1.5 million investment in another robot. And they said, hold on, give us a minute. Let us look at this data and let us see what we can come up with. And what they did was remarkable.
That is really awesome. So walk us through a little bit about the new robot management strategy you implemented. So how did partnering with Lean Toss help you actually implement the strategy?
Lean Toss was able to take the data that's collected and mine that data based on what the hypothesis is and is not. And once they mined that data and they came up with the facts, They then went back and validated that by giving us a story. What is your availability in your operating rooms? What is the utilization? Who are the high utilizers? What are the variables that we shouldn't pay attention to? What are the outliers above and below? And what other opportunities might you have? And so what they did was they came back to us with a modified block schedule, which was super cool. And so we weren't going to be changing or manipulating any of our set processes for block time and block time utilization and allocation, but what we were doing was refining it. So we were able to refine it with refined data, provide adequate amount of blocked robotic time to not only utilize it to the extent we were, but significant growth. And I don't know if you have this slide to present at some point, but we presented a slide to our steering committee, and we showed in April of 2021 that we were able to increase robotic minutes 10% compared to the prior year. In May, we jumped to 24%.
Oh, wow.
And in June, we jumped to 45% increase in robotic minutes. I mean, just think about that, 45% increase. And that to me tells a huge story that not only we're improving access and utilization, but as a director, revenue. And we weren't losing any cases to that.
That is really awesome. That's amazing growth in just 3 years. So how has the adoption of IQ for operating rooms changed how you utilize the robots beyond that?
Just about robots or in general?
Just the robots.
Robot? It has helped us build a reputation within our organization and our physicians of validation. It's a validated data. It's data that they all agree upon. They don't challenge it, being originally just coming from me as the director, or from Intuitive as the robotic company, or somebody's hunch. It's validated, good data from a third party that has already proven to have our best interest at heart. And so it's been very well adopted. And we have had no complaints about access because we've actually created open block. Because it's a modified block, because of Leantas IQ's philosophy of open time, we have open time available for the robots that has given other providers access. So we can still grow. We can keep growing.
That's great. Just out of curiosity, would in general the answer be different? Has IQ changed? Changed how you utilize other sort of
equipment?
Equipment, exactly.
It has. We could put that in. We keep thinking of additional opportunities as we grow in robotic and AI kind of technology. It's probably going to grow right with us, and that's the good thing about Leantas IQ. They don't take a year to fix it. It's real time adjustment, real time customer engagement, customer feedback. There's not a week that goes by that I'm not engaged with my team for downtown campus or for the whole health system. And so because it's very engaging, it's very nimble, and that's what we need in healthcare in this time, especially when you're growing service lines, maybe considering leaving service lines, and as you grow.
Right. No, yeah, the flexibility is very important.
The flexibility, yes.
Absolutely. So what should other hospital systems looking to optimize the use of their robots consider?
I think they need to be less biased by the vendor provided metrics. Those are great metrics to have. It's good information to have, and they will keep growing in how they utilize their information and present it. But we have to keep in mind that it is true. Vendor data and vendor provided information to us is always and should be in the best interest of the organization and us. But having a third party with no invested interest gives you that unbiased science, so to speak, that you need to make an evidence-based decision. It's like making a practice decision based on one study versus looking at a meta-analysis. And I kind of feel like Leantas IQ has been my meta-analysis.
Right. That's how you trust the data, right?
Correct.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me talking this morning. We really appreciate the information, and I'm sure everybody else is going to find this really helpful.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you for all that you guys have done for us. Appreciate it very much.